What's going on, everyone? And no, this is not an illusion. This is actually your boy, Coach Pope. I know I look a little different than the last time most of you guys have seen me. That other guy was 20 pounds heavier. I decided to take upon the most craziest task ever and do a 90-day reset of my life, my thinking, and my journey. It's almost towards the end, and we're gonna see what happens from there. But these are my best friends when the fitness world is upside down and the world is in chaos, and you got somebody surviving IEDs to the face allegedly. Bullshit. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah. So when the fitness
Oh,
world
I
is
heard
upside
about that.
down, I call all my best friends. I call all my best friends because the fitness world has truly lost their goddamn mind. So I had to call the experts in. I had to call the Avengers because this is too big for me. This is too big for me. How you guys doing? First and foremost, before I ask any questions, the most important question is, how's your mental health? We're going to start off with Jack, and we're going to move over to the right.
I'm doing great, man. I just turned 46 yesterday,
Happy
and I
birthday.
feel young
Happy
as a
birthday.
spring chicken here, and my mental health is great. I'm going to therapy, doing the work. I have my podcast on men's mental health. And so, I've been delving deep into those issues that men deal with when it comes to mental health. But I'm doing great, and I'm so grateful, as always, to be on your podcast.
All right.
All right. Hi. Yeah, my mental health is great. I'm also in therapy as well. I've been in therapy off and on for almost 10 years. So, of course, I could say my mental health is pretty good right now. Even after COVID, it was okay. So, yeah. Uh, it's a little stressful now because, I'm competing this year. And so we'll see what happens. I'm two-time figure competitor, so I'm going to be doing it again in my 40s this time around. It was in my 30s, so we'll see what happens and what I look like by the end of summer. So that's what I'm shooting for.
All right.
All right. My mental health is as it always is. I just ignore it and put it away into the little black pit inside and work harder because nobody cares. I've been a consistent guest on some podcasts and always end up being the voice of unreason on that one. But, I'm all good. And training for a fight in September, my first ever organized fight at 48 years old. And I got about
Nice.
8 months to make weight and learn how to fight. So, from competing in years and years at high levels in powerlifting. So it's not that I haven't done some competitions and using those gains or using those knowledge to, apply to training methodologies and things, even though I have no idea about combat sports. But I got 9 months to learn, and then I'm going to get in the ring against some 20-year-old. And the switching sports, though, has been fantastic for my mental health. I have nothing against lifting. I'll return to it. But just re-engaging in something different at this age was a fantastic pivot, and all the cardio and things like that versus just eating and lifting. So I'm doing good.
Nice.
Nice. Appreciate the question as always. My mental health is good. I'll be honest. I was tuning in a little bit too much into political TV and politics. So I have completely tuned that out. I've stopped binge watching that stuff, and it's improved significantly with that. As far as competing for me, I've decided to take all of 2026 off. So it'll be 2 years total for me. But in this off season, I've been training really hard. I'm considering doing my first powerlifting meet this year.
Nice.
So I'm really excited for that because I like to just get in there, get after it, and hit those numbers. So now I want to do something so I can channel that competitive side of me since I'm not getting on stage this year. But otherwise, I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
All right. Well, if you need help, you got three experts you can reach out to. and
Absolutely.
and Ryan, I will be reaching out to you because I am writing a book on men's mental health. So maybe we'll call your section the voice of unreason. Now, my first question, as always, I might have started off with a joke, but we have one veteran on the podcast. That's unpack our truths out here. We have other people who work for the DoD for like 14, 15 years. Hey, we have other people who just support our troops from afar. So we have a guy who's been lately higher than a firecracker in the fitness world. I don't know where this guy came from. He came out of the mist like a shadow. I look at my FYP. This guy's all over the place, and he getting sponsorship deals, and he was blowing up. And then somebody did something miraculous. They checked his DoD
Yeah.
files, which
Yeah.
are open and available to the public. So if you're going to lie about your service record, don't do it with the DoD files that are open and available for anyone to see. They checked those DoD files and we found out he was lying more than last night girlfriend or boyfriend said, I'm coming back tomorrow. Now, I'm not a veteran. I'm not a veteran. We're going to start with the only person on here who I know for a fact served. And I ain't going to mention no names, but we know who that individual is. So how do you feel about Malibu Fit out here talking about he survived IEDs to the face and he didn't? And he got all this social media clout. And then it disappeared once those DOD files came out. Now, to our veteran, how do you feel about that?
Oh, I wasn't privy to this story. I did not know. However, that is a huge insult. Being a veteran myself, but also working with veterans every day with the Department of VA and rehab. So I don't play when it comes to that. I don't like that at all. I don't know what would possess someone to do that, just because, those experiences and being exposed to IEDs and being on the battlefield. I mean, I've been deployed. That's no joke, and that's nothing to play around with. So I definitely take that personally. That's really all I have to say about it. That's it.
Mm.
So, in the non-professional way, F Malibu Fit is what you saying.
I don't know if I would take it quite that far. However, he just needs to get himself together, and that's all. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Well, I know who will say it. Ryan, you on deck, brother.
I looked into this story. I caught it just like everybody. Blew up across all the socials, and I looked into it. So he did serve, and he did get deployed. It's the IED to the face that
Okay.
that is the stolen valor. He did get injured in the war, while deployed. I don't want to say he was on a base. And here's the funny part, and I wish he'd use this story. Like, the actual truth here could have got him as many followers. The man got so blind drunk on base that he tripped and fell and smashed his face, and that's why his face is all
Oh.
squished and needs surgery, and there's medical
I was
records.
wondering.
So Uncle Sam rebuilt his face from a drunken mishap on base. So that's what happened to Malibu Fit. That's real. That's public. That's, it was all looked up, his record. So he did serve. He was a military policeman.
Wow.
Not active duty out on the lines, I suppose, but he was on base. He was deployed. But
Okay.
made up entirely the IED to the face to cover up getting blind drunk, smashing his face. And that's why he looks like he looks. Like his face is
Yeah,
kind of
he looks
squished and
weird.
scarred. He looks weird. And that's
Mhm.
because they had to rebuild his face.
Mhm.
But Uncle Sam rebuilt it in Korea for him. And, at the end of the day, like, that's what boggles my mind about some people with choosing to lie over things. In the greater scheme of things, I was deployed, I was out there, and I got drunk and wasted and fell on my face is still a pretty good story. I survived. I still serve my country. Like, yes, it's ridiculous, but it almost makes you want to be buddies with the guy. Had the story been what he was telling, the truth, versus making up this valiant Purple Heart stuff versus, man, I got drunk and fell on my face, and now here's a lesson for you about sobriety or working out
Right.
or fitness or any other number of things, right? So it's
Yeah.
a tough one, and I think he would have done just as well explaining why his face looks like that because he got wasted on base.
How many of us haven't gotten wasted? Like, come on, that's so relatable, right? But
Exactly. That's why it's a relatable story, and it would be just as relatable.
yeah. I mean, I definitely. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't know the entire story. I didn't realize he is a military veteran. However, I've worked in poly trauma, and I've worked with vets who have come back from war who have had both their limbs blown off. I've seen that firsthand riding around on a gurney. So again, even though thank you to what's his name, Marnie Fit. What's his name?
Malibu Fit.
Malibu
Yeah,
Fit. Appreciate
yeah.
your service. However, there's no reason to lie about your circumstance because I've actually seen what real IED can do to people. So there was no reason to lie about that. So I'll leave it at that.
Mm.
Miss Doctor, you on deck?
Oh, you want to hear from me? I mean, I'm not a vet or
Yes,
anything,
yes.
but I'll just say I wouldn't. I mean, what's scary about social media is that you will always get caught in a lie. So you shouldn't expose yourself on Instagram or wherever because somebody's gonna find out. Somebody's in the comments. We have investigators in comments, so they will find out. So it's like you will easily get caught, and it happened so quick. Like once he became viral, that was it. Like somebody went and looked him up and put his whole business out there. I saw the post. That post was like, what, 10, 15 minutes long. Somebody did some deep research and looked up all this information. He should have known better. That's the one thing that's stupid on his part. Like, there's no sense in lying or trying to become viral. People do the stupidest things to be viral. And I think it was such a waste of his time. It just made him look worse. So that's my take on it.
Jack.
I'm with Ryan on this one. I mean, what an inspirational story we could have had from him, you know, saying like, you know, look, you know, I was deployed, I made some mistakes, you know, I struggled with alcoholism, and you know, this happened to me, but look at me now, I'm training people, I have a positive attitude, and I've turned my life around, even though I have this disfigurement. You know, I use it to educate people, but instead he used it as a lie. And I remember when I first saw him, it was before he got exposed, and I was like, what is up with this guy's face?
Right.
And I saw people making fun of him in the comments, and then I saw the comment, it's like, this guy, you know, served in the military, you shouldn't make fun of him, and he like suffered an IED. And I was like, oh damn. And so I became like very sympathetic towards him and then his cause. And then when Goob is the guy who like really investigates all these like social media clans. This guy, like, there, like, you got to know, if you're out there doing the social media thing, there are people looking to expose you, and Goob is one of those. And he fully exposed him. And you know, like, I wasn't angry at Malibu Fitness, and I was just like sad for him, sad that he had to come up with that story because he felt so much shame about his physical appearance, and now he's facing all this backlash because honestly he does seem like a really nice person. And you know, from seeing his fitness stuff, it seems that, you know, he's a good personal trainer, and he's someone that's, you know, trying to bring positivity to the fitness world. But you know, what a black mark he left by you know, just one big lie like that. And you know, he did serve, so it's not stolen valor, but it is, you know, stolen from those people who have suffered, people who have died, you know, and it's very disrespectful in that way. And all I can say for him is, like, I hope he learns his lesson and is able to regroup and, you know, like, take in his shame, you know, and learn to live with it. But yeah, I think it's really unfortunate because there's a lot of that out there. And, you know, I got taken in by it. We all do. You know, we have big hearts and we're very sympathetic, especially to people that overcome things. And to use, you know, another excuse, you know, it's just, I think it's sad.
Right.
Yeah, personally, you know, I normally leave my personal opinions to myself, but that's the equivalent of me doing this 90-day journey, going to go shoot up the big O and telling people a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
That would be the same equivalent. Be the same. They'd be like, I did this 90 and I went secretly to go shoot up the big O.
Well, a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that, Norris.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that, you know, you're showing people that there's a natural way to do that, because, you know, going with the Ozempic thing, I don't know if you guys have seen the award shows recently, but it's really scary seeing these people. Yeah, Ryan. I think it's what was that? I forget the girl, but she just looks like, they all look like they're starving. And I don't know why celebrity culture is trying to push this near death experience as beauty. I wish that there were more people pushing like big and beautiful. Like, women with muscles are gorgeous, and I have to tell my clients that every time I get women clients in, they're like, oh, am I going to be too bulky? Am I going to get too, I'm like, no. I was like, you're going to look beautiful. You're going to have curves that you've never had. You're going to look like, men are going to like see your legs and just be immediately attracted to you. You're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel strong too, and you're gonna live longer. But yeah, these GLPs and stuff, and the celebrity culture that's promoting it, it's like a death culture. And I don't know what to do about it. You know, I wish there was more people promoting healthy, strong lifestyles, but unfortunately, we're wrapped up in a death culture.
100% facts, bro. I think every time I watch one of my shows, everything around me lately is somebody trying to sell you the big O, and it's unfortunate. But hey, I got two women on here who are muscular and beautiful. So how do you guys feel about them trying to sell you young ladies this Skeletor figure?
Okay, I'll say, yeah, it's all over social media. I think that's the problem. And celebrities are selling it, celebrities are getting it first. What's sad is that the people who actually need it are not getting it. Those that are diabetic, those that are actually obese that should be taking it don't have access like the celebrities do. There was one point where they actually ran out and didn't have enough for them, which is scary, you know. So, and they don't have the funds like the celebrities do as well. The only person I'll say is acceptable is what's her name? Lizzo. Only because she was pretty overweight, right? To the point where I think she could, you know, she can be sick. So right now she looks good, and I think she needs to stay where she is. And I think who you were talking about, Jack, is Kelly Osbourne.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she went too far, and from what I heard in an article or somewhere, now her and her mom, they can't gain any weight because they were taking it so much. They're having a hard time actually gaining weight back.
Oh, wow.
So that's why, and I think a lot of it has to do with depression as well, because I think after her dad passed, it got worse. So yeah, Kelly, it's sad. She looks very, very bad. But yeah, when they promote it online, they're giving people false hope. A lot of people that are not celebrities, they're trying to get on it. They spend all this money on it, and it may not work for them too, because everybody's different. Everybody's hormones are different. So yeah, I don't agree with it, and I don't agree with anyone if they're doing it and taking it to NPC. You know, that's definitely cheating, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes with NPC, so I can't really say. But I know, I think it's OCB that actually are strong on natural. So if you actually want to do a natural show, it probably would be OCB that you would actually be able to actually come in naturally. But yeah, so that's my take on it. I mean, I don't agree with everyone taking it. Though the people like Vanessa Williams is another example. She was already thin and she started taking it. Now she's like super bony. So it looked like that's what's coming in now, because I think it was like that back in the 90s, and it looks like they're trying to bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So BBLs, and now we're doing this. So it's like it's
no.
one thing after another with these body issues, and it's scary. Showing that in social media and having little kids see that online, and you know, you're teaching them the wrong thing. So that's my take.
Yeah, just to piggyback off of what you said, I am in agreement for those who need it medically. That's one thing. However, it just feeds back into that microwave mentality, right? Everybody wants things to happen now. They want it to happen quickly. What you need to be doing is creating a sustainable lifestyle for yourself. Do the work, and then you'll actually be able to maintain that. And like you said, it's almost like a drug. Like the more, the more you take it, the more you want to continue taking it. And I don't agree with it. I think, like I said, people need to create a lifestyle for themselves, follow good nutrition, go to the gym. But those are the boring things, right? That's not what people want to do. They want results now and fast. So I don't agree with it, except for in cases where people actually need it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking for us individuals like myself and Ryan, who has taken the hard path, and one of us actually knows more about shooting stuff up than anybody else in the world, and that's Ryan. So, Ryan, how do you feel about them pressing people to take upon the big O?
I agree. For morbidly obese people, diabetics, various conditions, it's a miracle drug, and it should be. But for your average person to lose 20 pounds, I'm waiting now for all of the class action lawsuits when unintended longitudinal side effects start happening. They can't have studied this longitudinally. It hasn't been around that long, so they don't have 20 years worth of data. And if you're in a consistent caloric deficit for an extended period of time, regardless of how that's achieved, that's going to strip muscle off you. That's going to strip every kind of tissue off you. You're going to be malnourished. You're not going to get your micronutrients. Nobody's going to eat super perfectly, even though they're in a consistent deficit. They're just going to starve themselves. And that's going to lead to so many downstream consequences that they can't have thought of yet. Like imagine, I've competed in powerlifting, how to cut weight. You ladies done physique and those kind of shows. You know what a prep is. You're in a deficit. Your tissue's falling off. You feel like shit, like all of that kind of stuff. And it's going to create body dysmorphia issues because they're going to get skinnier and skinnier and skinnier and then think that's good. And they're not going to be able to look back in the mirror and see a skeleton that's there. I'm waiting. I don't know how many years it'll be, but it's not too far. I think when the first people start suing for, wait a second, I have sarcopenia at 45 and age-wasting diseases, and my bones are falling apart because I haven't had any kind of nutrients in however long, and there's going to be a bill to pay for society on this one in any way that you cheat. And I only want to say cheating for those that, losing 20 pounds, do this. You 600 pounds, absolutely sign up for that Ozempic, get down to 300, save your life. You're diabetic. There's a number of conditions where it's the absolute correct move, and people ask me, I once upon a time was so big and fat I couldn't tie my shoes. I waddled around. I was near death in my 30s. I was obese. Wow. Now I'm 195 pound, about to hop in a ring and fight, and I competed in powerlifting. And I did it the old-fashioned way. It just, people don't like that answer. I stopped eating like an asshole and worked out 4 or 5 times a week, and for 13 years. That's the part they don't like. Oh, you cut your calories, you did this. I'm like, yeah, it took a decade. It took me that long to get fat. You think, it's not going to take me 6 months to drop, 80, 90 pounds and get in the shape of my life. And now I'm almost 50 years old. I have abs in the morning. And I don't think I did anything. I always make that joke in the morning because after breakfast and some carbs, they're right, dry in the morning. I can squeeze and see abs in the mirror. But, nobody wants to hear that answer because it took me a decade and now it's here. Now it's easy to maintain. Now I can, I don't have to religiously diet anymore because I built some muscle. I got some lean tissue. My base metabolic rate went up, all these things. And I'm a picture of perfect health now. And it just, nobody wants to hear that. They want the quick fix. So I think there's going to be a really big bill to pay, and it's going to be, it's when the bill comes due, it's going to be a nightmare, I think, and I think sarcopenia, imagine being in a caloric deficit for 20, 30 years when you're old. You're not going to be able to get down to the toilet. You're not going to be able to go up some stairs with no quad muscles. And you stop taking it, you're going to gain it all back plus 10. So just like any other trick, without, as you mentioned, changing lifestyle and changing habits, and the magical pill has never worked yet, so I can't envision this one working. And I just want to hold judgment on the morbidly obese, diabetic. There's people that I would, if I was still 300 pounds now, it would be a different situation probably than, versus now, I got to make weight for this fight. I'm not going to do Ozempic for it.
Yeah.
I've worked with many clients who do use GLPs. One, they were obese, and 2, they were diabetic. But one thing that I always push when I train them, which is important, is constantly building muscle and, maintaining muscle mass. Because like you said, Ryan, that's one of the first things to go with the weight loss, with the Ozempic. And, studies have found that, as we get into our older age, the more muscle mass we have, the longer lifespan we have. We're able to, sustain injuries, recover quickly. Things like hip and knee injuries when we get in our older ages are, death sentences for some people who don't have muscle and, didn't take care of themselves in their younger years. So, whenever an athlete tells me, I have more respect for athletes who are in their 40s and who are, doing competitive, athletics than, people that are in their 20s, just because it's so much harder to maintain. And it shows that they've taken the discipline in the many years to achieve that. And that can't be replicated in any way. If you just do the GLP and that's it as a quick fix-all pill, you're actually doing a lot of damage to yourself long term. So I agree with you.
I agree with all statements of the above. To be honest, hey, if you need it, take it. If you don't need it, choose the hard path.
Yeah.
And from a person who changed their mindset from powerlifting to now trying to save my own life, it's going to be frustrating. There's going to be days that the scale gaslight the hell out of you. There's going to be days that you question your own self. It's going to be days where your mind lies to you and tell you you're hungry. Go eat. Go back to your bad habits. It's going to be days where you're going to have a stressful moment at work with your family, with your wife, or etc. And you're going to want to go get that alcohol and all your other vices. And I'm here to invite you to challenge your mind, because this is all it is. It's all in the mind, and you can break it, but you have to be disciplined enough to do so. All right, next topic is I was strolling through TikTok, IG, Facebook, and the moon, and some 18-year-old kid chose to try to bench 405 with elbow wraps and almost crushed himself. And someone said maybe we should take these elbow wraps from these guys until they properly learn how to bench press. And I was watching another person who was watching the NFL Combine, and half the reps, if we were at any powerlifting meet in the world, would have been 0 and a bunch of red lights. As we got 3 powerlifters on here, so we're gonna start with Jack and work our way around the circle, though. But should people learn how to properly bench before they get to the elbow wraps or anything else that they want to use to accessorize that big boy bench?
Well, all the elite power lifters that I've talked with, and I've been to many competitions, and I've talked to many equipped lifters, and they say that equipment should not be used until you get to the highest level of competition. That's when you start using the equipment. That's when you start moving into equipped competition, is when you've mastered the basics without the equipment. So I think that, no one should be, messing with like suits or anything like that until they get proper form, or else they're just going to be loading up too much weight and, causing injury. He's that guy who had 405 or whatever is lucky they don't die, because I think I saw it like bounced off his chest. And that's been a death sentence before. I've seen people die like that. So bench press is one of the deadliest lifts. People don't think so. People think squat is the deadliest lift, but it's actually bench press is the deadliest lift. So it's not something to play around with. And I just want to point out on another topic that Pete Hegseth, the guy from the Trump administration, supposedly went in a gym and hit 315, but they did a close-up on the plates, and I knew it wasn't 315 by how he pressed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew it wasn't, but then I saw the 10 on the side of the weight. So the Pete Hegseth, or whatever his name is getting in on the fake weight fitness trend too. But
hey Jack,
side note.
hey Jack, hey, hold on, time out, Jack, time out. You gonna leave me and Meek secretary alone? That's our secretary right there. You gonna leave our secretary alone? That was 315 clean. That was 315 clean. Bullshit.
I don't know. I saw the 10 on those plates. That didn't look like it. I've seen you push 315, and I saw him push 315, and I was like, no, that's more like 205.
Stop the cap! Stop the cap!
Wow.
Doc, what do you guys say about these young guys out here doing crazy stuff with 405, playing around with it like it's something like to play with?
Well, I'm not sure about that video. I did see one, but I just one guy, he was bench pressing by himself, recording it and everything, and it hit his neck. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but he's still alive. Days later, he went back to the gym, but somehow he started shaking. like his legs were shaking. It was scary. Like he started sliding off the bench.
He got
Luckily, he
choked
got
out.
off.
All that, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I seen that and I actually reposted it because I thought it was crazy because nobody could help him. It was like only 3 people in the gym. So that was very scary. Eventually somebody came. But yeah, I just think it's common sense, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if something is too heavy, you know it's too heavy. Why are you doing it by yourself? Always have a spotter. I'm not sure about the equipment that they need in terms of powerlifting, but in general, like if something is too heavy, it's like have someone behind you to look out for you. Even don't, no, there shouldn't be ego lifting. I hate when I see that at the gym. It's like that's danger zone. You're gonna kill yourself. I've seen stories, but it's in other countries that a lot of people have died squatting or doing anything, which is wild to me because that is something that can definitely be avoided. So
Well, before Ryan kick in, you're talking to 1, 2, and 3 psychopaths, and what's heavy? You know what I mean? In the powerlifting world, we look at stuff and be like, I'm gonna lift that.
but still, when you're like shaking, but still, if you're like shaking while you're trying to pull it back up, I mean that should tell you
Man,
something. It's
it's
safety first. I don't. Who
we
you trying
talking
to show
to
off for? These are strangers at the
You
gym.
know, like the easiest thing you can do for a bench press is put on the safety bars on the side.
yes,
So
Mhm.
yes.
you just drop it down. If you're pushing your chest up enough, your safety bar should be like right
Oh yeah,
below the chest level, and if you drop it, you just sink in your
back
chest,
off. Yeah,
push it off.
There you have it.
That's
yeah,
Or
bench.
yeah.
or dum just don't put on the clamps and
Yeah,
slide it
slide them off.
True.
sideways and sideways. You know
Yeah,
what
I've
I'm
seen people
saying?
do that. Yeah, I've seen people do that.
Because it's been many a times. I'm like, I'm not going to do it today because I haven't touched it in a while. But one of these days, I'm going to lift 315 again. And trust and believe, it just may be me and Jesus Christ there. And I'm still going to
You
do
better
it.
have a spotter. You better have a spotter.
No one, Doc. I'm
You lost all
calling
that
you.
weight.
I'm
You lost all
calling
that.
you.
Yeah, all right.
Ryan, what you guys say about this? Because you're the guy normally speaks
I
the truth.
can't say much on this. Ego lifting's in the eye of the beholder, right? An ego lift for somebody is just a strongman lift for somebody else. But there's a level of knowledge that's missing sometimes. And I can't say anything about the elbow wraps either because I've used elbow wraps. I've used equipment. I shouldn't have. I should have. I didn't. It's the lack of maybe just general knowledge with some of the young bucks now that I had bestowed upon me by old dogs at the gym at the time. And I trained for years alone when I was doing monster lifts, training for strongman and powerlifting because I had to train alone. But where is the knowledge on how to bail a lift? Where's the knowledge on don't use clips? Where's the knowledge on, you know what I mean? If you're going to use elbow wraps, you need to already know what you're going to do. You're right. You should be at a certain level before you start using equipment. But really, he should have known how to bail the lift. He shouldn't have used clips. It's a cascade of fails at certain points, and suicide grip versus the thumb and all these things that went south. That there was like just a cascade of fails. And I can't say that I haven't done crazy lifts by myself and bailed lifts, but I mean, learning how to bail a lift is really important. Like, don't have the clips, put it down on your belly, slide it up, like there's a million ways to get out of a bad bench. Those kinds of things, but it's just a lack of knowledge. But young bucks are going to be young bucks. So I can't say that this isn't going to happen again tomorrow on the talks or we're going to be laughing about this again tomorrow and it's going to be another guy. Right. So it's just a case of generally like the old dogs got to teach the young bucks and, men, ladies, doesn't matter. The gym community sticks together. And when you see that, you just got to call it out in person. If not, like, bro, take the clips off or do something because it's going to happen again. It could have been me. I can't say anything, right? Other than I at least had people tell me how to bail lifts and I learned before I was doing monster lifts by myself, right? So just learn from it, laugh about it, thank God he's okay, and then move on because next week we're going to get to watch another one.
Yep.
Miss Meek, what are you guys saying? Definitely jump on Jack for talking about our secretary. He can't talk about our secretary like that. That was 315.
I mean, I Obviously, I'm not a power lifter. I'm looking at doing my first meet ever in the coming months, but like everybody has said, it's common sense. And also, there's something to be said about people looking for a viral moment, right? They want that one moment. They want to showcase themselves moving all this weight, knowing that they can't. And so that's a whole nother story. But just be smart. Like, look, like for me, my knees are not that great. So I know I need to put my belt on. I need to put my knee sleeves on. I need to put these things on to protect myself because I'm 40, and I'm not going to be out here just risking my safety and in the gym. So just be smart, and get back to the basics, and just have someone with you. Like, is it Chantel? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Have a spotter. I mean, it's just common sense, you guys. It's just that's all I got to say about that.
I'm gonna give you kids a little advice. If you're gonna do something crazy, because we have all done it, we've all been there before, and especially in this powerlifting game, you have to challenge yourself. Eventually, you gotta be like, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but I gotta try this. So if I were you, young man, I would one remove the clips, and then you can dip it from side to side. Two, I would have the safety bars in a position where if it does go wrong, you got the safety bars. Or
Mm-hmm.
three, get a better spotter who's going to be there for your safety and his. That's all we can say. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, somebody's going to do it again. And speaking of somebody doing something crazy, I've never seen somebody actually do this and die. I don't know how it happened, but someone was doing a SWAT in the Smith machine and managed to delete themselves. I don't know how you could do that, but hey, I got experts here, so please, somebody explain how does this happen?
You get folded.
Oh. Oh,
That
well.
happens is your spine snaps literally because the way that it's like a guillotine, right? The sliding
Mm.
the sliding method. And so if you put too much weight on it and you're hinging back too much, it's going to fold you. And if your back isn't properly braced, it's going to snap your spinal cord and it's immediate death.
Wow. That's scary.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's why
Okay.
bracing, that's like the thing that we should be like teaching all. Like over the summer, I'm going to be a strength and conditioning coach for a youth baseball team,
That's scary.
high school baseball, like community college level. And that's like the number one thing that I'm going to teach them before anything is how to brace properly, because that's important in safety. And it's, not enough young bros in the gym are bracing properly, and they're putting themselves in a lot of harm. I didn't know how to brace when I first started lifting, and I, had a bulging discs, and I
Damn.
learned, so it's the basics. It's teaching these young men the basics before they go out there. And, I'm all for it, man. I'm all for going gung ho and, testing yourselves on, trying to lift, and, living another day. But you live another day by learning the basics like bracing and, how to properly hinge and how to support the weight. But yeah, a Smith machine is very dangerous, especially for squats if you're loading it up like that, because it really is like a guillotine.
Yeah, they had 4 or 5 on there, and they something went wrong and it went bad. And speaking of bracing, I saw a video one of my buddies posted. I disagreed with it, and I said, "Hey, brother, I love you, but I disagree. Knee wraps knee wraps and a belt are not going to help you become a better swatter." And I have 3 guys who have done this in the game with Raw, which means you get your singlet, you get your knee lower wraps, and you get a little powerlifting belt, and you get your hopes and dreams. And you can put this 400 pounds or above on your back, go down to the knee deeps of earth, and come back up, and hope everything goes well. So, for the record, because hey, I'm no one expert, I'm just Norris. For the record, does a back belt, a SPD belt, and SPD knee sleeves, is that going to help you and prevent any type of injuries and keep you safe at night like that warm blankie that your mama used to give you?
If you use it right. If you use the belt, I mean, you don't need an SPD like special $300 belt to do that, but you should have like a thick leather belt that you can really feel your abdominal pressure press up against. I mean, that's all you really need is, it's not the belt that's doing it. It's just training your abdominal region to expand correctly 360 degrees. So the belt allows you to feel that expansion. So, it's not the equipment. It's, how you use the equipment.
Doctor.
I agree with him as well. I use a belt for like when I'm doing rack pulls or Romanian deadlifts, because I had a back injury for not ego lifting, but it was a little heavy and I didn't have a belt. And I think the belt does help when you have a sore back or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's about how strong you are, really, right? So it's the belt it assists you. I think it just helps you when you do have certain particular injuries or something you're afraid that you might hurt. So I think using those help a lot. I used to use the straps. I don't use them anymore, but I used to use them because doing lunges and things like that were an issue for me as well. And those helped me when I tightened them on my knees. They actually did help. And, doing squats, they kind of help. But I'm not saying that, it's going to make you a better lifter, but it does assist you. So it's an assistant. That's how I look at it.
Ryan.
I don't think they help or prevent injuries. They can, because the belt is not actually to save your back. It's you have something to brace against. You have higher intra-abdominal pressure and more core stability. More core stability equals less likely of a back injury. So that it's correlated, but not directly causated. But since it does assist you lift more weights, you can slide on an extra plate and hurt yourself anyway. It's the same with knee sleeves. Are meant to keep your knee warm and compact. Knee wraps can add to your lift. Knee sleeves don't much. And you can still blow out an ACL with either sleeves or wraps on. More injuries happen with wraps because they're tighter, and not because of the wrap. Because, I feel so much more confident with these wraps and I'm throwing some extra biscuits on. And then you bite off more than you can chew anyway. So, I've competed straight raw dog. I've competed sleeves. I've competed wraps. I could absolutely lift more with a belt and wraps than I could with sleeves and different things like that. But I think the injuries still is about proper form and things. Like you can hurt now, if we'll just use an example, 400 pounds. If I squat 400 pounds straight raw dog, I am more likely to hurt myself than if I squat the same 400 pounds with a belt and sleeve or belt and wraps. Absolutely. But what happens is a guy throws on a belt and wraps and now puts 500 on the bar and still hurts themselves. Apples to apples, they do help, but not sort of for the reasons people think, in my opinion. And I've used them all. And just more about a little bit of psychological safety maybe, and things like warm, compact knees are going to prevent some injuries or some different things like that. But throwing the extra biscuit on there, you have bad form. Hey, it's the same kind of thing. I do recommend that people generally start using them once they're over their body weight and different lifts and things like that. So if you're a 200-pound guy, if you're not squatting 2 plates, what do you need a belt? And you know what I mean? Once you start creeping over certain multiples of yourself, adding some safety equipment does kind of help. So I'm not, and I still, when I go to the gym nowadays, I still use them. So I'm not anti them. It's just still about biting off more than you can chew injures more people. And if you bite off more than you can chew because you just spent $300 on this fancy new belt, was it the belt? Was it the biting off more than you can chew? What was happening there? Right. So a little of all of the columns on that one. There's my opinion on belt and wraps and everything.
Me.
Yep, I don't really have much else to add. I'm just going to echo what everyone else has already said. They are protectors. I know for me personally, once I got to about 175, 175 on the squat, I said, okay, I definitely need my belt and my knee sleeves, and I feel better, but they're not going to prevent injury. They're just there as a protector. So I just agree with everything everyone else has already said.
So once again, to my good friend out there, and I love you, brother. I love you. But at the end of the day, knee wraps, belts, anything could happen. Anything funky and weird could always happen in this gym community. It doesn't matter what you have on. Just live your life and practice the game. Hey, and for those who want to use a belt, if you don't know how to properly brace, the belt's just there for funsies.
Yeah.
So my not my final question, but my last real question, because you guys been knowing me for a long, long, long time. How surprised were you that I actually took upon this 90-day journey? We'll start with Jack and work our way around.
Brother, I've always believed in you, and I always knew that you could do it. And we've always like talked about it, and I've been seeing you slowly get in the process. So I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it. I know you have like a competitive mindset. I know that you are disciplined, and I know that once you put your mind to something, you're not going to stop. So no surprises here. I think you're capable of anything. But
That's nice.
I'm one of your, best friends and biggest supporters, so I'm a little bit biased.
I
Um,
mean,
First, I'll say congratulations. That is a big thing. Compared to what I've seen you last year and competing and everything, you look great. So I'm not particularly surprised, because we all go through our phases, right? We want to be a power lifter or we want to compete in NPC, OCB. So we're all athletes, right? So we do come to a point in our lives where we want to look a certain way or we want to change something, we want to do something different. So I'm not surprised that you're actually going through this process and it's working for you, especially naturally. Yeah, so I'm just proud, and I'm happy that you're writing a book to teach others. So congratulations on that as well.
oh yeah, you read the book, and the book is being formatted as we speak, and hopefully we can get it out there, and
Yeah.
hopefully somebody buys it and runs away from the big O. Ryan,
Okay. I'm surprised you started it, but once you started it, I knew 100% you were going to win and do it. Because, we've known each other online. Of course, we live thousands of miles apart. You've been bitching about losing weight, dropping weight classes for how many years? And of course, just like some of us, nothing happened. No, this is truth bombs time there, Norris, right? Oh yeah, I'm going to lose weight. Oh, I'm going to drop a weight class. Oh, and then that picture of your feet on that scale still says 240. How many years, right? So, but then soon as you started an official thing, like, okay, a 90-day this and like you gave yourself a deadline, you gave yourself a goal, and I'm like, okay, here we go. That's the recipe. He's going to crush it now. But you never gave yourself a deadline. You never structured it. You know what I mean? It was the starting was the best thing you could do as a competitive guy, because we know you're going to finish it, bro. But it was waiting for you to start all those years, other than just saying, oh, I'll drop a weight class next time. Oh, manana. But it's always good to see someone take a big W. You got the big W there, Norris. But I, as mentioned, I had total faith once you started something with a deadline. But at first I was like, oh, finally, he started something. So good for you. You got the W, you crushed it. And it'll be good to see your thoughts and, how that journey went for you. But the second, I'm just glad you started, because that's when I knew. But before you started, it was just, oh, I'm going to lose weight one day. And we've all been there. There's this club, So good for you getting that W, Norris.
I appreciate you, brother. Miss Meek is one of my new friends. How surprised were
Yeah, I was
you?
about to say I'm relatively new, I think. But congratulations. And when we did the podcast, just the two of us, the mindset was there. So I had no doubts that you would follow through. I think, as you talked about, it's largely psychological. And then also, I can say I can appreciate how transparent you've been throughout the process, because you're showing the realness of it. Because sometimes we do fall off the bandwagon, but we get back on. So you've been resilient throughout this process. You've stuck with it, and you've gotten to the finish line, and that deserves to be celebrated and shown for others to see, because that is very real. So congratulations.
Well, that's my close and best friends, and I appreciate all these words of kindness. But after all of you guys, because somebody should have warned me that it was going to be like this. One of
Oh
y'all
my
should
God.
have. One of y'all should have threw up the bat signal and said something before I started this process. Because oh my God, it's been many days I've cussed all you guys out in my mind, and And Ryan and Jack know I will send you a random middle finger just because I'm going through misery. But hey, man, I truly appreciate the psychological aspects of this journey, the spiritual aspects of this journey. And I think we covered it all in the book. I hope to get it out there. I hope people look at it because I
I
put
can't
my
wait.
heart into it.
Me too.
And it's been a long process. And now I just gotta, once this 90 years over, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with the rest of my life.
Stick with it.
Yeah, stick with it. I mean, is it a lifestyle change, right? So it's something that you're going to be continuing.
1000%, because I don't see much like to be honest, I don't miss alcohol at all.
That's
The
good.
only thing that every once in a while still get me, like I was outside doing car checks and somebody had like a Burger King bag and I could actually smell the onion ring in their bag from outside.
I know the
So
feeling.
yeah, so that's the only thing that somewhat like sometimes still get me, but like the lifestyle that I've been living now, the only thing is like been killing my strength is I do 15 minutes of cardio before the workout, and it does affect how strong you are on that particular moment. So I
Hmm.
do miss lifting like heavy amounts of weights and being a Superman. But hey, sometimes 225 will get it done. Get it done. And so I do miss being a Superman, but I'm enjoying the process of actually being more healthier. And this is the best I've ever looked in my life in
That's good.
20 some years. And I still got to the end of this month to go. So we'll see how everything goes, well, it's blood work and all the other stuff. But this is the best I felt in a long time.
Great.
Yeah.
Proud of you,
Yeah.
brother.
Hmm.
Alright. Well, I love you guys. I'm not going to keep on you guys for forever, but before we go, we always close this thing out with a powerful quote. We're going to start with Jack and we're going to work our way around the circle. And mental health book coming soon. But Jack, hit us with a powerful quote.
I won't say a powerful quote, but it's something that I learned today that you as a person influence. They did a study, and that you as a person influence over 700 people in your lives, some way, somehow. So make sure that whatever way you're influencing people, whatever way you're living your life, you're doing it in a positive way because it is affecting others. It is inspiring others. And if you're bringing negativity in this world, you're influencing people with negativity. But if you're spreading light and positivity in this world, you're affecting over 700 people. And if we can get that going, it's going to spread. And so spread goodness, not negativity.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh, is it my turn? Okay. I'll say patience is a virtue. I have two. Patience is a virtue, and the other one is trust the process. Those are two main things that I always keep in mind. So you got to be patient when you're dealing with the coach or whatever you're doing, especially trying to lose weight in your 90 days. You have to be patient on that scale. You have to be patient, look at your inches, see how your clothes fit. Don't always trust the scale. And also the trust the process, that goes hand in hand. You got to trust the process on what you're doing. It takes time sometimes it takes months for something to kick in. So that's my quote.
Ryan.
All right, I'm going to go old school. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man in the arena whose face is marred by dust, sweat, and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs and comes up short again and again. That is from Teddy Roosevelt hundreds of years ago in the olden times when dinosaurs roamed the earth. And that is, you get out there and you do it. And it's not the critic. It's not the haters. He was saying F the haters 150 years ago or whatever, 100 years ago. And you get in that arena and you do it and you fail and you fall on your face and you get back up and you fall on your face in a military base in Korea and you start a fitness empire, right? Like, see, had he just learned this lesson, this quote, he wouldn't have getting all this backlash. But that's my favorite quote of all time because it's just, and it's funny because I'm not even American and Teddy Roosevelt was not, my president or anything. But he just had that one on lock. Get in the ring, whatever that ring is, do it and fail and get back up, and you will be better for it. And F the haters, man. Like that's because they're sitting on their couch hating, and you're doing what you're doing the deal. So everyone out there, whatever it is for you, just do that deal and F the haters.
Yep.
Me.
Perfect. I don't know that it's necessarily a quote, but I just want to say a line. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Because when you feel good and you take the time to work on your own health, physical health, mental health, it manifests in all areas of your life. The best investment you can ever make for yourself is in you. And then, like I said, it'll cross over into work, into your family life, in all areas. So never feel like taking care of yourself is selfish.
Mhm.
That's all I got for that.
Well, that's a wrap, kids. We will see you again on March the 20th. We have Danielle Grant coming in from Gold's Gym Exit 13. And if you're ever at Gold's Gym Exit 13, if you stroll to the left and you look up the wall, you're going to see a silhouette of the greatness that's coming on the podcast. Because it
Nice.
seems like lately, it's only been the female bodybuilders that have been coming on this podcast for a reason. So, hey, if don't mess up a good thing. When the female bodybuilders want to come on the podcast and talk about their journey, you let them talk about their journey, and you just appreciate them for coming on your podcast. So I'll be back on March the 20th, and we'll all be back in a few months. And by that time, I'll be done with the 90, and we're going to see where it goes from there. But I love and I appreciate you guys as always. And I just say, man, thank you for rolling with me, and I appreciate you because this journey's been hard. It's been many times I done hit Doc up, and she
Yeah.
heard every complaint in the world, text message, arguments on the phone, everything else in the world. She gets the bulk of it. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you allowing me to sometimes mess with your mental health and be a little.
It's all
bitchy.
good. It's all good.
Yeah, so I appreciate you guys, man, and I'll see you at the end of this 90. We're gonna do this again because you know I love my panels, so we'll do this again, and I'll see you guys at sometime soon. And unfortunately for me, I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of new clothes, and I'm never gonna be able to compete at 110 kilos again. So whomever is in 100 kilos, whenever I choose to stop doing cardio 2 times a day, I will be back. And I will take
gosh.
everything from you that you have.
That's a good
soul.
problem. That's a good problem. Buying new clothes is a good problem.
It
That's a good
is.
problem to have. Yeah.
I'm about to
Enjoy
buy. I'm about to buy a whole new outfit because I'm never going back to 242 ever again in my life.
That's good.
I know people been joning on my wrinkled t-shirts while I've been doing my little videos, but oh well. I'm in my house and mind your business because you're probably somewhere in your mama's basement with your lotion talking about my wrinkled
Oh my
shirt.
goodness.
Oh my God.
You extra.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. If you're going to come for me, let's have an open profile and I can retort back to you. My
Oh
profile's
gosh.
open to the public. You can talk about me. I'm available. And like I stated before, my secretary who benched 315, two of us on this podcast, all you got to do is type in our government name and all our information is out there. I'm going to mind my business though. I'll see y'all next time. I love you guys.
Thank you for having
Absolutely.
us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
night.
See, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.